Dimebag Darrell was more than just a guitarist. He was an absolute living legend. From his explosive riffs to his super expressive lead playing, he basically changed the world of metal forever. Today, we're diving into the craziest guitar moments that made him an icon. But before Pantera were filling stadiums, there was a young kid with a dream and a guitar. Now let's rewind to Dimebag's early days where his journey began on local stages. But little did anyone know, his journey was about to take a wild turn. Even as a teenager, Dimebag Darrell was unstoppable. He took on every local guitar competition and he won. Every single one. Then one day, he scored the ultimate prize, a Dean ML. But on that same day, little did he know he had a surprise waiting for him at home. Dimebag says, "I didn't know it, but my dad had ordered me a USA Cherry Burst Dean ML. The day it came in, I won another Dean ML in a competition. That was the best day of my life, man. My dad got me the badass Dean Standard in Cherry Burst. It was my first Dean and it became my favourite." Dimebag's love for the Cherry Burst Dean was undeniable. But he was in a tight spot. He needed $600 to buy a car, so he had to make a choice. The guitar I won was ugly, but I loved it. Still, I had to get rid of it to buy a car. At the time, I felt like I should have done something else to buy the car so I wouldn't lose that great guitar. But little did I know, the guitar ended up in the hands of Buddy Blaze. During Buddy Blaze's time with the guitar, he'd modified the hell out of it. He'd done a sick paint job, he'd modified the pickups, he put in a Floyd Rose, everything that Dimebag would come to love about his guitars. So when Dime asked Buddy Blaze if he could make him a guitar, he got more than he expected. Dime goes on to say, "The next day, there was a parcel at my door. I opened it up, and it was the Dean from hell. I still have it to this day. I lost it once and I had to pay $2,500 to get it back, but I would never let it go again." And so, the guitar that Dimebag thought he had lost forever had returned to him. It had been transformed into the legendary Dean from hell. And this guitar would soon have a role in some of Dimebag's wildest performances. The Dean from hell became synonymous with Dimebag's persona and his sound. With its striking blue finish and its lightning bolts, it's as much part of him as the music. Originally a stock Dean ML, this guitar was modified beyond all recognition. Over the years, he played around with different pickups and different sounds in the guitar, but eventually settling on his favourite pickup, the Bill Lawrence L500 XL, which would later go on and inspire Seymour Duncan to make him his very own pickup, the Dimebucker. That pickup combination delivers soaring leads and the bone-crushing rhythms that Pantera and Dimebag are known for. But the Dean from hell wasn't just a one-and-done guitar. Over the years, Dimebag has broken the headstock repeatedly. I'm pretty sure it's had at least 11 repairs. But this is just a testament to its resilience and the brutal way that Dimebag played it. And although Dimebag eventually did switch to Washburn, the Dean from hell remained one of his most iconic guitars and one of his go-tos for Pantera's biggest hits. It travelled with him everywhere, from the early days to his last shows. Today, Dimebag's partner, Rita Haney, ensures that the Dean from hell still gets his moments in the spotlight. It's stored safely in his vault and it travels with Pantera across the world when they are on tour. It's an absolute treasure and a piece of metal history, and maybe one day I'll get to see it in person. And just as the Dean from hell was a constant companion, so was Dimebag's infectious energy. Both on stage and off, his antics and his charisma brought Pantera's performances to life. And in the next chapter of his story, the stage would become his playground. Dimebag wasn't just a powerhouse on stage, he was also the life of the party backstage. Known for his relentless energy and humour, he always loved to prank his friends and fellow musicians. Whether it was lighting fireworks, dousing people in whipped cream, or capturing their reactions on his trusty video camera, Dimebag always kept everyone on their toes. One of his most infamous pranks involved none other than Yngwie Malmsteen.
No, I don't eat donuts.
You don't eat donuts?
I don't eat donuts.
Oh, excuse me.
Dimebag knew that Yngwie was very particular about his diet and famously didn't enjoy donuts. So naturally, Dimebag thought it would be hilarious to offer him some. Yngwie's reaction was as fiery as his guitar solos. He wasn't amused, but that only fueled Dimebag's laughter. It was all part of the fun for Dimebag. He loved to get a rise out of people.
He likes donuts though.
Especially when they were as intense as Yngwie Malmsteen. He had a great way of keeping things light, which balanced out the intensity of their music with his playful, light-hearted personality. And thanks to the hours of footage he recorded, fans got a glimpse of that offstage charisma with the Pantera at-home video series. But it wasn't always fun and games. When Dimebag took to the stage, he unleashed a level of intensity that always left a lasting impression. And no performance showed that more than Pantera's unforgettable set from Moscow, where the whole world saw just how powerful Dimebag could be. In 1991, Pantera took Moscow by storm at the Monsters of Rock festival, sharing the stage with the mighty Metallica. With over 1 million fans roaring in the crowd, Pantera's performance was electrifying. But the real highlight was the crushing breakdown in domination. Rumour has it that after their set, when Dimebag walked past his buddy Kirk Hammett, he said, "Follow that one, boy." Whether that's true or not, it speaks to Dimebag's boldness. Here was Pantera, a band on the rise, sharing the stage with metal royalty, and Dimebag didn't back down for 1 second. It was a bit of friendly competition. A brazen move that showed how much confidence Dimebag had in Pantera's ability to hold their own. And while Metallica may have been higher up the bill, Dimebag's energy and skill left a lasting impression that day. The domination performance alone goes down as being one of the heaviest things in the universe. Dimebag's fearless attitude extended beyond the stage. Whether it was his relentless energy or his mischievous behaviour, he was always ready to surprise those around him. And as Pantera's fame grew, so did Dimebag's legend. The Moscow concert showed the world Dimebag's power on stage, but his fearless approach didn't stop there. Even when it came to filming music videos, he pushed things to the edge. In fact, one of his guitars couldn't even make it through a shoot without falling apart. But for Dimebag, a broken guitar was just the start of another unforgettable moment. In true Dimebag fashion, the I'm Broken video shoot was anything but ordinary. For this video, Dimebag brought with him a Dean guitar that had been through the wars. It had bullet holes, drill holes, it had been relicked beyond belief. But as the day went on and they recorded over and over and over, the guitar just couldn't handle it anymore, and he accidentally smacked it off an amp and it blew up into many pieces. For most guitarists, this would have been an absolute disaster, but for Dimebag, it was just another day at the office.
Smashed an unbroken video.
Right.
And then we didn't have another guitar, so we had to tape it together with gaff tape.
So to get to the end of the shoot, they basically just had to tape it together and hope for the best. The broken guitar only added to the raw, chaotic energy of the shoot. Dimebag was never afraid to push his gear to the limits. It was moments like this that would cement his larger-than-life figure in metal. He was someone who could turn a broken guitar into part of the performance. Dimebag's chaotic energy wasn't just reserved for live shows. It followed him into every music video shoot where anything could happen. But the true power of Dimebag's presence came alive on stage. And when Pantera took to the stage for the final Ozzfest performance, Dimebag poured everything he had into that show, not knowing it would be their last US performance together. In the year 2000, Pantera's final performance in the United States took place at the Ozzfest. When I was first getting into Pantera, this concert was one that I would watch pretty much every day in the early days of YouTube. I was completely hooked by Dimebag's electrifying performance and his raw energy. He always gave it everything he had, and you could feel it in every riff and every solo. One of the most memorable moments is when Zakk Wylde turns up on stage and has an absolute quick shred on Dimebag's guitar. But a fascinating thing for most guitarists is, it doesn't sound anything like Dimebag, it sounds just like Zakk Wylde, which does really prove that the tone is in the fingers. Watching that moment, I realised just how unique Dimebag's touch really was. This show was a defining moment for me as a fan, and I'm sure it's left a mark on everyone who's watched it. The Ozzfest performance was a powerful farewell, even though nobody knew it at the time. Later that year, Pantera would play their final show in Japan at the Beast Feast Festival, ending an era of metal that Dimebag had helped shape. Dimebag Darrell will always be remembered as one of the greatest. Whether he was melting faces on stage or pulling pranks backstage, Dimebag lived and breathed metal. To this day, he's a legend whose impact will never fade. His legacy continues to inspire and his music lives on, reminding us of his irreplaceable presence in rock and metal history.